Hello. I am Melissa at bymelissaclaire.com. I help women entrepreneurs own their stories and gifts by helping them show up confidently online through brand and event photography. And speaking of confidence, I sat down with Veronika Abrams virtually via Zoom and I interviewed her about all things confidence and her upcoming Confidence Academy, which is launching right now. Interviews are happening this month, September 2019, and you will find out all about that in the interview that I've recorded. So stay tuned. So thank you for meeting with me virtually.
Yes. Well, thanks for having me. This is so fun. I love it.
Yeah. I've never actually interviewed anyone, and so I'm really excited to just do that. So, do you want to start by telling me just a little bit about how you got to where you are now?
Oh, so that's
All the way at the beginning.
right, yeah. I was actually a really shy kid. I was a really, really shy kid. Very introverted, quiet. So it's kind of funny that I'm here now, but it also makes me realize that I think the thing that you struggle with the most is a thing that you're meant to teach. And it's because you have the greatest journey to get to the other side of it. So, the fact that I was a shy kid and introverted, and now that I'm teaching on confidence and how to achieve your goals and how to push past the comfort zone, it's because really that's what I had to face myself. It wasn't something that I felt was, inherent to who I was and my personality, but it didn't keep me from pushing past those milestones in my life. And that's why I think I'm teaching on this, to be quite honest, which gives me hope for anybody who's really in a difficult place, whether it's, I feel like if you're struggling with finances, then you are meant to teach on finances. So on the other side of your struggle, you're the one who's sharing and teaching others and really pulling others, to the other side too. So yeah, I was a really shy kid.
I think I've gone through a similar, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it froze and then skipped for a minute. I've gone through a similar journey myself, from being really shy, having social anxiety, and now getting to where I am now, where I'm sort of hey, let's be on Instagram. Let's be out in front of the camera. Was there a moment, or kind of a series of moments, that you had where you realized that I don't have to be shy, I can be something else? And then sort of what did that look like when you were deciding to do something different?
I think there was a few key moments, even just as a kid, taking the step to try out for the play and then getting a speaking part and being completely terrified, but then feeling so proud of myself on the other side of that, and doing well and getting accolades. And those are the kind of moments where I feel if we can actually do that, step out and take that initial step out of our comfort zone, that we can really have a chance to see another side of us that we don't explore too often. And the more you do that and you see this different identity that you're not familiar with, but you love, and it just speaks to a certain part of your soul that really wants to be seen, the more you do that and you step out into that, the more life you give it, the more voice you give it. And I think it was just those key moments. I ended up, just out of need, because I needed to get a job. I got a sales position at 17 at Gap, and I was terrified to speak to people. But within only a couple months, I was able to go up to people and introduce myself and ask if they needed help. And it's amazing how within even just that framework of, hey, you've got a little bit of training, and then in order to keep your job, you got to do this. I was able to get to that place where I was comfortable talking to people. And it took me 17 years to get to that. But it also goes to show that within the proper environment, you can make massive progress in that short amount of time, because you've got, that kick in the butt, and it's like, 2 feet in a heartbeat, you got to get it done. So, which is why I really have a huge appreciation for coaching, because yes, you can make that progress, but within a short amount of time, within the right framework, you can completely 180 life, or completely like a different aspect of who you are and your identity that you just dismissed for so long and just thought, I am not this, I am not that. And you kind of accept certain things, but within an extraordinary circumstance, you're able to uncover extraordinary aspects of who you are.
I definitely agree. And I think the new environment, putting yourself in new environments really helps you just see what else you're capable of, and you get that new feedback that you can kind of incorporate into your belief system.
Sink or swim. You're like, all right,
I gotta do it. So
adapt.
Here we go. What did you think? So I'm going to ask you how you define confidence now. If there was like a 10-second elevator pitch version of it, and then how your views on confidence are different from when you were a kid and when you saw people that you thought were confident, like what were you thinking of them?
So, if you look at words of other synonyms of confidence, there's confidence, there's self-esteem, there's self-belief, and faith in yourself. So that's how I would define confidence, is having faith in yourself, belief in yourself. I think how I viewed oftentimes confidence is you see somebody who's confident and you think, I need to wait until I'm confident and then I'll do. But that's not how it works. So something that I really teach and stress is there's a couple things, messy action, which is what my mentor Rachel Bell says. But the quote that I grew up with, there was a lady preacher, Joyce Meyer, who said this. She said, do it afraid. So you don't wait until you're confident and then do. You do, and the product is confidence. And I think that you're constantly pushing the frontier. So the things that I'm confident in now, I wasn't confident in 3 months ago, a year ago, 3 years ago.
Right.
But now I'm facing things that I am not confident in, but like in the actual task. But I do have now a history of follow through. So I have faith in myself. So there's an aspect of confidence in myself, even though I might not be confident in the task. And that's how you keep pushing the frontier. So confidence is having faith in yourself. How do you develop faith and belief in yourself? You have a history of follow through and keeping promises to yourself. That's how you develop faith in yourself. So what that needs to start with is, it's okay to not be confident now. It's okay that you don't feel like you belong. And that's where even people feel like, they have like, not identity crisis. What do you call it? Where they just don't feel like innately in that identity that it's home for them. But you do, and then you will be confident. You don't just wait until you're confident and then do.
Right, because you can't really know that you'll be good at something or become good at something unless you start doing it and practice and practice.
Imposter syndrome. That's what I was thinking of. People feel imposter syndrome. They'll even like operate within a role for a while. It takes time to feel at home within an identity. So you need to live in the space before you feel it. You need to, be in there and acquire it externally and before you actually feel at home.
Right. Is there something now that you are doing or practicing or thinking about trying that you're a little scared to try, but also kind of excited to see what happens?
So right now I'm launching my Confidence Academy. And that is something that I've put so much heart and soul into. But that framework, this is a new framework. And there's so much hope that I have in it. I've coached people on different aspects, but I've never had such a concentrated course and curriculum. So that right now is something that, I put my heart and soul into, and I'm launching. And yeah, am I scared? I am, because I've got so much heart in it. And, I think oftentimes, if you don't have skin in the game, you're not going to be afraid, right? But you've got hope. So when you have hope on the line, then you're going to be afraid, but that doesn't mean you don't do it. So that's something right now that I'm launching. And yeah, like that's new for me. This is like my baby, and it means a lot to me. And I really want it to impact people. So there's that, and that sense of responsibility too, having 12 women for 3 months. I've not had that kind of concentrated curriculum before and program. So yeah, that for me, honestly, is something that I'm massively proud of, but also I am scared. It matters a lot to me. But I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm also moving to California. So I'm moving away. And that is, and I don't even have all my ducks in a row, but I'm saying it, I'm claiming it. I'm figuring out how to sublet my apartment, renewing my passport, doing the 10-year, not the 5-year. Like, I'm pretty much already gone. Am I unsure? Am I afraid? Do I know, like, when I look at the list of things I want to do or I have to do to get it done, is it going to work? Is it not? Like, there's all these like things going, but I'm just I'm just jumping in. So that's a big thing too, to up and move my life. But I have so much belief that that's where I should be, and that's where I'm going to see the most growth for myself, so I can continue to pour into others. I don't want to stagnate. So yeah, that's another big thing that's happening right now.
That is so exciting. Do you have a timeline for that?
By end of year.
So end of year, you're going to be in California.
Yeah, I'm basically like whittling down all my things so I can like have 2 suitcases, buy my ticket, and go.
That's amazing.
So yeah.
I love that. I actually know someone else who is moving to California too. So I think it's kind of like people are just called to California and everyone's going now.
Yeah, it's like the mecca of, transformation. It's like the new finding yourself in California.
I will find myself there. So what are your thoughts? I guess we sort of alluded just a little bit, but the idea of faking it till you make it. Do you think that it's something you have to do before you're confident to build the confidence, or is it kind of like a misguided concept?
I think people like to play with words and overcomplicate things. There's a whole like don't fake it until you make it, face it until you make it. And I feel like they're the same thing. Like saying the same thing. You do want to be present and use your intuition to really understand how you're feeling in the moment, and not just like willy-nilly go about things. It's okay to face your fears. It's okay to like break them down, and also, just do it as well. Like I think it's just overcomplicating the thing. It's like, you got to just go do it. Like, you can keep talking about it. You can keep writing posts. You can keep putting memes together. But like, yeah, you do need to step into that space. You need to face it and fake it. Sure. Like, there's so many things that I had to step out way before I felt like I really embodied that identity, but I took up space in that identity. I started a business in design and renovations, and I learned along the way. But yeah, like, I took whatever knowledge I had and I did my very best. But then as I became more at home in that space and present, I was able to learn more and really fully embody that. So is there an aspect of faking it? Sure. Yes, there is. But yeah, and facing it, absolutely. When I say, be present in the moment, what I mean by that is, if you are in that space and you make a mistake, you want to be able to look at that and readjust and learn, right? You don't want to keep hitting the same wall. So yeah, you do step out, but be present. recalibrate if necessary, try a different approach. You don't have to change the goal, but you might have to change the approach. So yeah, be present, definitely face it, but yeah, you might have to fake it too, and that's okay.
Just don't be a completely fake version of yourself. Just sort of like do the thing until you figure out how to do it.
I think there's an authentic way to do something, like your version of something without but even in that, like you kind of learn the ropes. Sometimes you do a version that you've seen before you learn what your own version is. Like, for example, when I went into general contracting and design, I thought I had to look like a lot of these guys, that were in that space, because there was designers, but general contractors, which was more like the nitty gritty that I was involved in, I thought I had to look like the guys with the like polo shirt and the logo and those kind of things when I went to go do quotes. By the end of it, now within my design business that I also have, I show up with jewelry, hair done, nails done. This is my flavor, but sometimes I did kind of act out in something like a version that I saw. And then over time, I got to learn what my honest, authentic expression within that space was. So sometimes you don't see yourself or somebody really represent you. And oftentimes this happens in like underrepresented minorities, How do you step out in there without seeing people that represent who you are? Sometimes you just go out and you do your very best. So don't overanalyze it. Just go and do. And if it doesn't work or if it doesn't feel authentic, be in tune with your feelings, your emotions, and readjust. But sometimes, yeah, you do have to go out and be like a version that looks more like somebody else's, but don't stay in that. Definitely come to a place where you can express your authentic version of that.
So was there a time in your life where you felt like you didn't really know who you were yet, or what you loved, or what you wanted to do?
Yeah, there was a few years back. So this is what really kickstarted me into coaching. So I hit a rock bottom within about 6 weeks. My mother moved away, and I ended a relationship with honestly somebody I thought I'd marry. And my best friend moved away. My whole friend group was gone, and I turned 30. And it was this moment where I realized I'd lived my life mostly for everyone else, even my clients, even, partners. And I had lost myself in the mix, and I hit that place and I was like, well, now that everything is gone, and now I see the beauty of that. It's kind of great to be able to start from ground zero. There's nothing really distracting you from the fact that nothing's fucking working. Like, you gotta just like overhaul,
wipe the slate
over. Exactly. So now I have an appreciation for that. And I see like the clients that actually are going through those times are the ones that see the best results because they're willing to just scrap it. Right. But yeah, that was a time where I was like, who is Veronika? And by the way, I hate my own company right now, being alone. And it was a super hard time in my life. I hit probably the darkest depression of my life. Actually, I can definitely say it was. And then I did a lot of running away and distracting myself for a time before I finally came around. I was like, okay, you got to put your big girl pants on and figure this out. So that's what I did. And I did start grassroots, and that's where the principles within my program really came from. It's not complicated in like what you need to do. It's that you need to do it. So these simple principles really arose from that time of my life where I had to rediscover my identity apart from who I was to others. And it's the best thing. It was the worst time of my life and the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah. I a few years ago I went on a solo trip around Europe, and it was not a dark time, but it was the first time I had ever really been alone. And the first time in my life that I didn't have to compromise or think about what other people wanted to do. So it was kind of just this like refreshing time where I could focus on, okay, what do I like? When I wake up in the morning, what do I want to do?
Right.
Yeah. So I look back on that time in a similar way, I think. And I would say that's probably when I really first started getting to know myself. And then I think my confidence also was related to getting to knowing myself.
Yeah, I mean, how can you self-love and have self-belief when you're not familiar with who you are?
Yeah. So I think there's definitely an aspect of like, first, who am I? Do I know who that is? Do I love that version of myself? And then, okay, I can trust myself and have faith in myself. So I think those are related. What is something that you did for yourself, or what's a practice or an activity that you did during that time in your life that really helped you kind of take steps forward?
So I strongly believe, so when I was talking about the concept of keeping promises to yourself and learning how to follow through, and that's how you build faith in yourself and you build confidence. So what I started doing, just because I'd been like, my health was so poor, I'd put on like 20, 25 pounds. I started with fitness, and it wasn't about losing the weight. It was about, I'm going to make a promise and I'm going to follow through. And especially with depression, I had the intention every day. I didn't get there every day, but little by little, I just like forgave myself a ton. So I think that there's a need for compassion, but also being honest with yourself and saying, you know, I've got to follow through. So a couple of things. I think that fitness is a great place to start, keeping promises to yourself. And even like if you put the whole weight and health part of it on the back burner, because you're going to get the results, but this isn't about those results. It's about keeping a promise to yourself. You say you're going to go, do this as a confidence, promise keeping ritual. Focus on that first and foremost, because when you go about that task, because if it's the weight, you're not going to see the pounds. But if you go about the task and the goal is, I'm going to finish this, this is something I committed to, and I'm going to finish it, by the end of it, you've accomplished a goal. You've had in the bank, right? That's the confidence bank that you're putting it in. The results for all the other stuff will come later, but I think fitness is a really great platform to start the promise keeping, confidence building process. So that's what I did. And because I didn't have, you know, a lot of motivation to get out and I was struggling with depression, I just put my gym clothes on that fit a little tighter now. And I hung a right outside my door and I hit the stairwell of my apartment building and I started running that. And I committed to doing 10 sets. And that's about like 1,000. I didn't realize it was so much. And that's like 1,000 steps. Yeah, 100 stairs, 1,000.
Wow.
Yeah, 10 sets of 100 stairs go up and down. So like 1,000 up, 1,000 down. It took me like 2 hours because I was like huffing and puffing. So to do that 10 times. But then I was like, yeah, next day, like I'm gonna do this again. And little by little, my goal was to do it every day. And the reason I do it every day, and I say like I have a no days off policy for that, is because it's not about the fitness, it's about the promise keeping. So that became my church in a sense, you know. So I think that's a great place to start, even from like my background's in bio, from biological level too. Cardio is a great place to boost your serotonin. Serotonin is one of those happy neurotransmitters. When you accomplish a task too, you get a hit of dopamine. So from a chemical level and a mental level, it's such a good space to start that confidence building. So I think that's a really, really great place for people to start that has so many benefits. And you don't need to do like stairs 100, sets of 10 sets of 100. It could be, okay, I'm going to commit to 15 minutes every day, 15 minutes every day. It's not about so much the length of time, it's the commitment and doing it on a daily so that you can create that neural path in your head and that track record and that bank of confidence.
And then when you go to do something bigger and you say like, I'm going to, I don't know, by the time you get to the point where you're starting a business, you know that you do what you say you're going to do. So
you created that history. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. But 1,000. Oh my God. That's really awesome. So, thinking back to when you were little, what is something that you think you really needed to hear? Um, and if you could go back and tell that to yourself now, what would you say?
That you can do it, to have more accountability too. If it would have been great to have a little bit more accountability and pushing me into that space when I was little. But yeah, hearing that you can do it and your version of it is the right version. You know, you think you have to look like somebody else. You think you have to be popular like so and so or whoever's on TV, but you can do it, and your version of it is perfect.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Is there something that you today? Is there something that you wish you could hear today?
The things really right now that warm my heart and just keep me going, because I also hit times where, yeah, it's hard to be motivated. I have those times too. Like I'm constantly pushing that frontier for myself, and I do get discouraged. But right now, the things that I love to hear is other people's success. You know, when clients reach out and people reach out and comments even on posts or something, they're like, "Oh my God, this made my day." I'm like, "This made my day too."
Like,
you know, so yeah, like that makes me feel really, really good. And so those are the things that I'm super grateful for right now, and that mean the world to me right now, and probably will forever. It's like you made a difference, you made an impact. Those are the things that warm my heart and keep my fire lit for sure. Because I am human, but and I am so motivated to help others. But hearing it actually from somebody and from clients, and like I keep those, a lot of those, like I keep those messages actually, even like comments on my posts and emails from, you know, clients and other people that I connect with. I keep those because you need those encouragements, you know, during those times to really get you through. So I'm super grateful for that, and those mean the absolute world to me.
I'm going to ask a question, and maybe you don't have it like, do you have like a morning or a nightly ritual? And maybe you don't call it a ritual. Maybe it's just like something you happen to do every morning. Is there some sort of thing you do every morning or night that just really keeps you grounded or like sets you up for the day? Anything like that?
Yeah, so I do work out every day. Or movement every day. So here I'm out of town, so I did like a little yoga flow this morning. So I think that is really important. But followed by that, I've integrated a meditation practice, and I change it up. I do different kinds. So for me, that's really what works for me, is changing it up. So sometimes it could be a mantra, sometimes it could be a guided meditation, sometimes it could just be breathing. But I do about 10 to 15 minutes of meditation. I have a gratitude practice and journaling I do almost every day. So I started a newsletter, Gratitude Poet. So people, opportunity, experience, things. So I write down poet, circle one, and it kind of helps kickstart that. Something I've developed personally, and then I've integrated into my program too, is like a personalized manifesto. So that's the time where I get to really tell my limitless story to myself, and all of that, all those dreams and goals that I have, and encompass within this manifesto. So that's something I read to myself daily as well. Yeah, so those are, I would say, like fitness, gratitude, reading my manifesto, and starting my day that way to really keep me on track. And sometimes I have to revisit those things throughout the day. But I have such a close place in my heart for my ritual. It has really kept me grounded for sure.
Is there sort of like a typical day for you, or like what would your ideal day look like?
So I normally wake up between 6:30 and 7:30. I don't set up an alarm. I sort of let my biological clock
And you wake up
guide
that
that.
early, just naturally.
Yeah, I do. But I start with a coffee. No, I start with my meditation. Then I have my coffee, do my journaling as I'm having my coffee, get suited up after, and then I do my workout. So that's how I start my day. And then typically before 12, I try to get some errands done, things like that. Between 12 and 3, it's work. So between my coaching to um, my business, sometimes in the like evenings, I'll have some business appointments. But and then I try to wrap things up by 10 o'clock. I'm in bed. So I can wake up at 6:30, 7:30.
I'm like 9:30. It's getting late.
I do get tired by 9:30. Like my party days are kind of, long gone.
Me for sure. Um, have you done like any of those personality tests, like the Enneagram or like
I
the
have.
Briggs or?
I'm an introvert. I think it was INTF. INTF. And an advocate. So no, I don't know. I have to see. I can actually look it up really quickly.
I'm like INFP or something, and I'm the mediator.
Mediator, yeah.
They're like similar. We're like one letter now.
Pretty, yeah. Introvert. Introvert tonight, alone at home. Virtual high five.
I recently discovered human design. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
Human design, no.
But it combines like all these different things, and then it tells you kind of like what your strategy is and like how you should make decisions. So when you said that you work like 12 to 3, I was like, that sounds great. So I'm a projector, and a projector in human design, they're just not supposed to work that long. They kind of like max out at a few hours and then they have to go like nap or something.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So I feel like you might be a projector too.
Yeah, I can do like spurts, but there is like a prime time after that. I can maybe do some like lighter, like maybe creative, not having a deadline kind of stuff in the evening. But yeah, it sounds familiar.
Like the hard focused work. So I just have some other. Did you want to tell or describe your program a little bit? Because I'm hopefully going to post this soon. So maybe if you still have spots left in your program, maybe people want to hear about that.
Yeah. So right now, I'm going to be launching to the wait list this coming week. So the wait list will have access this coming week to interview for enrollment. So I will be then launching, opening it up to everybody else after that. There's only 12 spots. The program is going to be weekly one-on-one coaching and then full access to the curriculum. So the first month we go into very foundational concepts and principles. So we start with forgiveness. I think it's super, I kind of doubted for a time and put off putting that into the program. And then I got a hard dose of reality. It was like, Veronika, like you got to talk about forgiveness. You can't launch into a new life with things holding you back. Like there's just no way you can. So we attack. We go into forgiveness, and so that's two pronged. Like it's forgiving others, but it's also forgiving yourself. Because I think oftentimes there's things that keep us back out of shame. in decisions we made or ways that we failed. And that shame is such a poor motivator for change. It really, really does hold you back. So forgiving others, forgiving yourself, so you can really start in a freer mindset on your transformation journey. And then we go into intrinsic value, core values, and then core beliefs. So really getting that alignment in. So in order to live that authentic, aligned life, there's a couple things that need to fall into place. And I feel the biggest disconnects in people's lives and why they don't see the life of their dreams manifest in reality is they have certain values, but then their beliefs are not aligned with their values. So you know, you value love. Like love is really important to you. You want that love represented in your life. But then your belief, your core belief is that you are not worthy of love. You see where that disconnect is? If you can solve the disconnect between beliefs and values, that's when you can start really having those breakthroughs in your life. The second part of the second month, we started going into purpose and also things like personality and how do all those things work together to cultivate a life full of purpose. And I believe in multiple pillars of purpose in your life. It's not just like one thing you're doing, it's something you're experiencing within your career, your hobbies, your friends, your family, you know, all of these kinds of things. So then it's, you know, trying to define what that purpose-filled life looks like for you. And we start getting into developing that personal manifesto, which can change over time. Like mine will change over time, yours will change over time, and that's okay because purpose is not a set thing. It's a journey that you're on right now, and that journey will evolve and change. But yeah, we start developing that personalized manifesto. And then the last month, it's really about action. So making sure that your environment is the right environment to cultivate that life that you want. And also, how do you very intentionally set up a plan to launch yourself into that purpose-filled life? So alignment, purpose-filled life, and then action plan. That's how we tackle everybody's personalized goals. And that's why the journey is different for everybody. But when you're talking about principles, you can take those principles and apply them to your life, and yours will be remarkable for you, and somebody else's will be, you know, absolutely remarkable for them.
Right. Are there any sort of like favorite books you have or favorite podcasts that if people wanted to start diving into this journey for themselves, that they like a good place to start for them?
Yeah. So I really started my journey. I knew that I needed to have influencers in my life that were speaking to my higher potential. So I was listening to Tom Bilyeu, Ed Milet. There's quite a few too. I know that Elizabeth Gilbert too, when she talks about art and creation, she has a podcast series as well. Books, Gabrielle Bernstein, The Universe Has Your Back is a great book. David Goggins, You Can't Hurt Me, that's a great book. And then also inspirational life stories that have a twist of humor to them. It's Tiffany Haddish, The Last Black Unicorn, and Kevin Hart, You Can't Make This Shit Up. Like, those are great stories where you like, there's some like times in there where, you know, there's no way you can't listen to that and be like, well, you know, if he was in that situation, he's where he's, you know, he's at and she's where she's at. Well, I think I'm gonna be fine. So sometimes you need to see somebody else's hero story to be like, oh, okay. So those are some really great books as well that I would highly, highly recommend if you want to be able to laugh and cry.
Just like out in public, laughing and crying.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to share, or anything that, any questions you wish that I had asked you?
Anything I'd like to share is I really believe an extraordinary life happens from making a lot of little choices in the right direction, you know, the things that people ignore because they don't seem extraordinary in and of themselves, but don't neglect the tiny steps, the small goals, because we think of, we really focus on the big ones because they make us feel good, but the actual execution is really hard. But there's a lot of progress you can make from making small, incremental, consistent changes. So one thing compounded over time will get you so far. So don't neglect the tiny habits, the small steps, the small goals, the micro goals. Consistency over time is going to get you so far, so much farther than waiting for perfect moments and perfect goals.
That's so true. And do you want to just say where people can find you online and learn more about you and your program?
Yeah, so it's veronikaabrams.com. Veronika is spelled with a K. Abrams, Abrams. So veronikaabrams.com, same name on Instagram. And yeah, you can find me there. Program right now, again, there's a wait list. So, or maybe by this time it'll be open. So program launches in October, September, we're interviewing. It'll be only 12 spots, 3 months, intense transformation and change.
Wow.
So super excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. It's your first program, right? So
I've coached one-on-one and with clients, but it's my first signature program, and very concentrated.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you.
I'm so excited for you. You're making moves too.
I know, like my last day of work was actually yesterday. So yeah, so today is just such a surreal day for me, even though it's the weekend. But yeah, so that's all my questions for now. So thank you for meeting with me and sharing everything that you've shared. And I'm looking forward to getting this up online.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate you so much. I'm so excited for this new chapter in your life. I hope you keep me posted, and I'm sure, well, we're like permanent Insta friends, and hopefully we can.
I know.
So we'll figure something out.
It's going to be like all over your Instagram.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.